Okay, welcome to a new episode of Nate's MMA Corner. I'm Nate, and if you watch my show, you're in my corner. Today's episode's a post-fight show for UFC 257, McGregor versus Poirier 2, the rematch of the century. And yeah, post-fight rundown of the main card. So let's get started. And also, my afterthoughts of this event and the fights. So to kick off the main card in the women's strawweight division, we had Marina Rodriguez versus Amanda Ribas, and it was TKO elbow and punches around 2 for Marina Rodriguez. Gets a big victory here over a tough, top-ranked opponent in Amanda Ribas. Amanda looked great in the Paige Van Zandt fight, and I thought, oh well, Amanda Rodriguez hasn't faced anyone on this caliber to really, test her, and I thought, Ribas should be able to squeak this one out. But yeah, Amanda Ribas just got caught, and she got rocked and was finished. And I think Marina Rodriguez, people know her now. I mean, yeah, the diehards like myself saw her on Contender Series, and she looked great. But yeah, she's passed this test just to show her worth in the UFC for real now, and I can't wait to see more of her. Then in the middleweight division, we had Mahmoud Muradov versus Andrew Sanchez. I thought Andrew Sanchez was going to be using the wrestling here and just taking him down, but yeah, Andrew really tried to grapple at times, but Muradov just looked amazing. Just outstruck him pretty much the first 2 rounds, and then finished him in the 3rd round. TKO, flying knee and punches, and it was a good finish, a good stoppage by the ref. And Muradov, another prospect that's really proven himself, now having beat Ultimate Fighter winner. And not only that, but Ultimate Fighter winner that won at a higher weight class. So, I mean, Andrew Sanchez is a fairly big middleweight. Then in the women's flyweight division, we had Joanne Calderwood versus Jessica Ai. And, yeah, this one was a decision win for Calderwood. I thought Jessica Ai would be using some wrestling here and getting dominant positions, and she was trying, but Calderwood's wrestling, defense, and good sprawls were just on point tonight, and she outlanded Jessica Ai and looked great doing it. And Jessica Ai has fought in the UFC for years and fought the toughest of the tough, and yeah, I think at this point, give Calderwood a title shot against Valentina. It only makes sense. I mean, she was supposed to fight Valentina for the title, but then there was a layoff, and she was given Jennifer Maia to tie her down for the time being, but then she lost that fight, and Maia got the title shot, and now Maia lost in her title bid. So now that Calderwood's back with a win, I say it only makes sense that she gets a title shot. Yeah, good win for Calderwood. She really outstruck Jessica Ai and made it look easy. Yeah, can't wait to see more of her. Then in the lightweight division, in the co-main event, we had Michael Chandler, former Bellator lightweight champion, versus Dan Hooker. And Michael Chandler passes UFC debut test with flying colors. TKO punches round 1. Who would have guessed that Dan Hooker would be outstruck in this fight? I thought, if anything, there would be takedowns, and Chandler threw these big haymakers, and Dan Hooker just didn't know how to respond. He looked a little confused in the fight. Excuse me, and Dan Hooker just got wobbled and eventually finished by Michael Chandler, and it was a good stoppage by the ref and a good clean win for Michael Chandler. And yeah, I say possibly Michael Chandler versus Dustin Poirier for the lightweight title. Um, yeah, it would be a good matchup. Then in the main event in the lightweight division, we had Dustin Poirier versus Conor McGregor, a rematch, and this time it's in the lightweight division. The first time they fought was featherweight, and Conor lost second round TKO punches. My thoughts on this is, Conor looked good in the first round, and he really outboxed Dustin in that first round, but there was leg kicks thrown in the first round that landed for Dustin, that wore out the legs. The calf kicks of Dustin Poirier landed on Conor McGregor, and yeah, Dustin Poirier just didn't really have much of an answer. Conor McGregor didn't have much of an answer for those leg kicks, and it wore out Conor. And yeah, Dustin Poirier gets a big win here, arguably the biggest win of his career outside of, say, winning the interim lightweight title in the UFC. Yeah, Dustin Poirier, he's, I believe, won 7 out of his last 8. And yeah, I think Dustin Poirier, Michael Chandler for the vacant UFC lightweight title, assuming Khabib's not coming back to defend, makes sense. And as for Conor McGregor, I think that a good matchup for Conor is, hear me out on this, Tony Ferguson. I think Tony Ferguson would be a great matchup for Conor McGregor. Both need a win, and both are in a spot where they're still in that top 10 rank. They're still relevant. Obviously, Conor take a lot for him to not be relevant, but it'll get Tony back in the limelight, and if Tony wins, he has a big win over a big star that'll really catapult him back up the ladder. And if Conor wins, then he can say, he wasn't thrown a scrub and he beat a top 10 guy. And I think that fight makes sense. Or possibly Dan Hooker. But yeah, I would say based off of, the rankings and, the top 10 picture, I would say Tony Ferguson versus Conor McGregor. It's a no-brainer. And yeah, this, you could do the rematch with Nate Diaz, but there seems to be uncertainty about the Diaz brothers, what their plans are. So Tony Ferguson, Conor McGregor, you heard it here. That's the fight I want to see Conor McGregor next. And yeah, it would be a good matchup for the fans. They throw heavy leather, and Tony has his wrestling, but he can also be taken down, and Conor has great jiu-jitsu, very underrated jiu-jitsu. So there you have it. There is my thoughts on this card, and stay tuned in the coming days or so for my pre-fight for Alistair Overeem versus Alexander Volkov, UFC Fight Night. And until then, see ya.